Since the goal of life is a supreme aloneness known as Kaivalya, and God Himself is alone to Himself. Spiritual practice, sadhana, in the direction of the attainment of this supreme aloneness also consists of a development of a kind of aloneness in our own self. Are we alone in this world, or we are not alone in this world? There are two types of aloneness. One is a desolate, depressing feeling of being discarded by human society and having been subjected to an unfortunate psychological aloneness as if in a prison. This is one kind of aloneness, where an external force is exercised upon you to be alone to yourself. It is a punishment of a legal nature and not a happily welcome condition. There is another kind of aloneness which you impose upon your own self due to being disgusted with certain things, being unhappy with conditions prevailing in society and circumstances around. One would like to be away from these circumstances and be alone to oneself somewhere else. When people are angry, they wish not to speak to any person. Don't talk to me. It will be the retort of an angry person. They don't want to eat. They want to sit alone somewhere because of the intensity of anger. That is also a kind of aloneness, imposed by oneself, upon oneself, for totally negative reasons. There are various other types of aloneness which one feels within oneself when one has lost everything that one had. All the property has gone. Relatives, relations have deserted the person. The business has failed. Stock market has gone down. Crores have been lost. The very earth is shaking under the foot. And one feels at that time an aloneness of a wretched type. I have heard of a person who was always busy in stock market dealings. And one particular instance, that person lost everything in 1 second. And that very day he died of heart attack because of the wretchedness that he felt within himself and aloneness which entered into his vitals and took away his energy. But Kaivalya, which is aloneness, is not a psychological aloneness. It is not a loneliness that is felt by the mind attached to this body. It is the loneliness of the spirit that is within us. Our soul is lone by itself. that we are, truly speaking, alone in this world is something very easy to understand. All the associations that we are speaking of, money and power and social relations, are artificially created conditions by the coming together of certain favorable atmosphere for whatever reason. Because when a person is born as a little child, that child is totally alone. It has no property. It has no consciousness of relations. It cannot know that it belongs to anybody or anyone belongs to it. There is a gap of some years which we call life in this world. When that span of life is over, another aloneness creeps into oneself. That is the time of departure from this world. A sense of agonizing aloneness is felt at that time. Because something like a second childhood, the aged person starts behaving as if he is a crawling baby. The mind blabbers and chatters and starts saying anything and everything as an illiterate, untutored child would speak. Erratic desires arise in the mind at that time. While really in childhood, the consciousness of external relations is not there. And in old age, at the time of passing, there is the other side of the feeling of aloneness that everyone has left. When a person is passing, relations come near. Do you know who I am? They will ask. Do you recognize me? Sometimes the consciousness of recognition fails. Even if the eyes see and through the eyes one can recognize who the person is, one cannot fully express that relation. Hearing also fails afterwards. Eye fails, hearing fails. The mind alone starts thinking. But the mind also fails. Only prana remains out. If the prana fails, there is exit from this. This exit is to a person who has been accustomed to social living and a grandiose public existence is the worst thing that can be imagined. It is necessary to have that amount of wisdom in everyone, especially as spiritual seekers, that when aloneness was the condition of our coming into this world, aloneness is the condition into which we shall enter when we are departing. How come that we do not feel alone in the middle and we have a totally different feeling of having so many things which we never brought when we came, nor shall we take when we go. So all relationship of every kind is a total illusion that is foisted upon the socially conditioned mind of an individual. Because if that sense of aloneness, which was at the time of birth and which shall be at the time of passing, continues for some 50, 60 years in the middle also, the person may perish due to the grief of it. But nature's cleverness sees to it that the individual does not perish before due time. So a satisfaction is created of an illusory nature that one has everything. So much land I have. The land was existing there even before the birth of this person. And it shall be there unaffected even after the person leaves this world. But yet it is my land. Hundreds and hundreds of acres of land is mine. I have got so many friends. Like flies leaving one place and going to another place. All things shall leave a person at any moment. Bereavement is the law of nature because of the fact that association is an artificial, contrived situation which cannot stand for all time. When discretion takes the upper hand in our life, we shall realize that we are always alone to ourselves. There are no friends in this world because the association of people in the form of friendship is conditioned by certain arrangements of agreement. If you do this, I am your friend. If you do not do this, I am not your friend. So you have put if even in the friendship. And if that if is lifted, no person can be a friend of any other person. It is a kind of contract, as it were, that one enters in when there is an organization and an association. There cannot be an organization or an association of people unless there is agreement among themselves to behave in a particular manner and conduct themselves in a requisite manner for a purpose which is the agreement among themselves. So goes society, so community goes, so states go, so nations go. If the agreement is broken for any reason whatsoever, the person stands alone to himself. A spiritual seeker has to know this aloneness in oneself. It is not good to feel aloneness only at the time of departure from this body, because it will come with a shock at that time. That you are going to lose everything is something that need not be thrust upon us at a time when we are not expecting it, but we must be prepared for it even now. If the worst happens, you know how to face it. Because there cannot be anything worse than death, where you are dispossessed of everything that you thought is yours. Considering that associations of wealth and relations is intensely conditional and cannot be relied upon, anyone can turn one's back against you for some reason or the other. It is necessary to find peace in one's own self. If peace is borrowed from associations and connections with external things like wealth and relation, that borrowed happiness and peace will go like the money of a creditor which will not stand with us for long. We cannot live by borrowed peace. An intrinsic strength should be developed within our own self, not the strength extrinsically foisted upon us by authority, power, election, and position. Intrinsic strength is that which one feels within oneself, even if everything goes. But What kind of strength can there be when everything goes? You will be wondering, how can one feel intrinsically strong and satisfied if everything departs, everything collapses? What kind of intrinsic strength can be there? That intrinsic strength comes by your friendship not with human beings and monetary existence, but by your friendship with the nature as a whole. We are not friends of nature. We are opposed to nature oftentimes, many a time, because we feel we are totally independently constituted, though the fact is that our personality is a borrowed existence made up by the substances borrowed from nature outside, independent of earth, water, fire, air, and ether, which constitute our body. We do not exist. But we are not grateful to nature. We do not recognize that our existence is nothing but a borrowed existence, and we live because of nature's cooperation with us. When nature protects you, your aloneness expands itself into the largeness of nature itself. The whole universe is nature in one way. Whatever is an environment around you, about which I spoke to you on the first day itself, is the thing and the substance out of which we are made. Cosmic operations come together in a pinpointed pressure point like manner and form our individuality. Cosmic substances which are spread out in all directions for some reason concentrate themselves at a point and create a situation which is called my individuality. If this is known by us, and if we think in terms of those forces which have contributed to the formation of our personality, we shall not depend for our existence on frail relationships with untrustworthy human beings and unreliable wealth of the world, but will rely upon what is a trustworthy friend of ours. That which is a reliable associate of our own selves is that which will not desert us at any moment. The very wind that blows, the very sun that shines, the air that we breathe, which are cosmically operating, they are the fingers of God working everywhere. Philosophers, mystics say spiritual life is a process of the movement of the alone to the alone. The small A rising gradually to the highest big A, capital E. Everything is alone in this world. The connection of one thing with another thing is artificial. Two things cannot be joined together under any circumstance. The nature's law is aloneness finally. Nature is indivisible oneness and aloneness by itself. All things stand by themselves in their cooperative makeup, which arises on account of the functioning of the total nature in everyone. Though we look like many people sitting here, we are all little chips of the old block of universal substance, which makes us look similar to one another, as statues made of marble have a similarity of the substance out of which they are made, because all is marble in spite of the shape and the contour. of the carved figure. The collecting of oneself into an aloneness by oneself, at least during meditation, is a utter necessity. There should be some time in your life when you feel that you are alone to yourself. People mostly are miserable when they are totally alone. When you have no work to do, when you have finished your day's duty, had your lunch and dinner, nobody comes to talk to you. You just walk out to the marketplace or the club so that you may see people and have a chat with them. Because to be alone to oneself, unbefriended, unseen, and unsung, is misery. Does anyone feel miserable when one is alone to oneself? Where is my husband? Where is my wife? Where are my children? Where are my relations? I was expecting these guests. Where are these guests? If they don't come, we are not happy. They are coming, their cooperation, their feeling of atonement with us makes us feel happy. My child, my daughter, my son, my this, my that. If these are dissociated for any reason, a predicament that can come upon us at any time, we shall be lost souls in one instant. It is necessary for a spiritual seeker to feel that he or she is never a lost soul. The soul is ever complete in itself. It only requires recognition of its aloneness. So when you sit for meditation, or even without being in a state of meditation, when you are without any kind of outer association, you can gather yourself into this conviction of your being always guarded by the powers of the quarters in heaven. This person who is satisfied in one's own self is guarded by the quarters, say the scriptures. Sarva disho pali masmai haranti. All the 8 quarters of heaven will bend before you and offer obeisance to you. Sarva dishaha pali masmai haranti. Sarvamasmiti upasita. Tadbharatam, tadbharatam. Be confident that you are in perpetual friendly association with permanent forces of nature. They can never desert. For this purpose, to get accommodated to a satisfaction of being alone to oneself, intense practice of inner enquiry about one's own self is necessary. What is my importance? Put a question to your own self. Big man, small man, authority, without authority, whatever it is. Let each one put a question to one's own self. What is my value? What is my worth? Is there any worth in me, independently of any kind of external association? When you are alone in your bedroom, when nobody sees you, when you are isolated in a little corner of your own house, divest yourself of the importance that is associated with you by foisting you to external conditions. Put a question to yourself, what is my importance in this world? Sincerely, if you put a question to yourself, you will find there is no great importance associated with it. person. But is it necessary to feel always that one is unimportant person? There is an importance attached to us intrinsically which we have forgotten, and we feel miserable and unimportant and finite, limited, localized, wretched because of our association of importance with conditions of outside world which are artificially made to get connected with us. A deliberate dissociation of psychological connection with things, not necessarily forced upon us by conditions of life, should land us in the ascertainment of our true nature of substantiality or unsubstantiality. If you have a strength of your own inside, born of a conviction of inclusiveness and perfect adjustment of thought, coextensive with the nature as a whole, there should be no figure, deep difficulty in being alone to oneself. It is actually a large aloneness, an expanded form of aloneness, not socially expanded, but metaphysically expanded, spiritually expanded. Your soul has touched the souls of things outside. And so, that aloneness that you feel at that time is a spiritual aloneness, a reflection of God's aloneness, as it were. I am reminded of a line from Milton's Paradise Lost, where Adam, having been created, sees around him large nature, one thing having connection with another thing. There are trees and animals, they live in a brood, but he has nothing with him. He complains to God. This is not in the Bible, it is only a Milton's idea. He complains to God Almighty, my Lord, I am alone, you have not given me any friends. Lord Almighty God answers him, my dear child, do you know that I am alone? I have no friends. I have no associations. I am alone to myself. Do you know that? Can you say that I am an unhappy person because I have nobody around me and I am alone? Learn this from me. Is an answer that Lord is supposed to be speaking to Adam when he complains of lack of facilities of social association. In the beginning, the aloneness that we feel in ourselves is most unhappy, most unwanted, and grief is the nature of that aloneness that we feel. Oh, nobody wants me. I am like this. Everybody wants you if you only want everything. The world reacts upon you in the manner you react towards yourself. But we have no feeling for things of this nature, and our feeling is in respect of social associations only. Our intrinsic strength does not depend upon any kind of social contact because that is brittle in its nature and it can break any moment of time. It may be there, doesn't matter, let it be there, but you cannot depend on it always. There is no one in this world who finally wants you and really wants you. Any condition which is unfavorable will reveal this fact in your own self. Do you believe that always there will be favorable conditions prevailing everywhere? The so-called favorable circumstances in the midst of which we are living are supposed to be the product of some of the karmas that we performed in our previous life. You must have done some charity, some good deeds, some service to people. That potency of good action that you perform in respect of the society around you brings to you now in this world of human relations a satisfaction of being in the midst of friends, relations, and cooperation. But as karmas perish together with their fruit, their results also perish. And that which has come will also depart. Sarve kshayanta nijayaha patananta samuchritaha samyogaha viprayoganta maranantanjini. Mahabharata gives a concluding message to us. Any kind of accumulation, whatever be its nature, will end in the dissolution of that accumulation. The collecting of things will end with the dismemberment of the parts of that collection. All rise in authority, power in society will end in fall unto the lowest level. All relations end with pyramid. Samyogaha, viprayoganta. As logs of wood incidentally meet each other on the surface of the ocean due to the wind blowing in one particular direction. Yatha kathanja kathanja sameyatam mahodadho sametaja vyapeyatam tadvad bhuta samadhavana. Says Sri Krishna Dvajapayana Vyasa in the Mahabharata. Logs of wood become friends of each other, not knowing the fact their friendship and coming together on the surface of the ocean is due to the wind that blows in a particular direction. We meet each other, we are friendly with people, we have got relations, we come together in a fraternity of relationship. In the same way as logs of wood meet each other on the surface of the ocean. But the logs have no independent thinking process in their minds. The logs cannot control this connection. The wind must be blowing from somewhere. Some super operation of whatever nature is active in bringing you in contact with certain things in the world, but it can operate in other direction also, because nature has no friends, nature has no enemies. When the biting winter is making us feel very comfortable, and a little sun bath in winter is very pleasant, we cannot say that sun is a great friend of ours, because he is giving the warmth when we are shivering with cold in winter. But in the hot summer, when we walk, if a person has a sunstroke and is able to collapse, we cannot say sun is an unkind person. The sun was neither favorable to you nor unfavorable. Some operation is there superintending beyond human control, which makes it appear that things are of a particular nature. Maranam danja jeevitam. No one can escape death. Not necessarily after 25, 30, 40, 50 years. it is any moment. The length of life of a person, the duration for which you will be alive in this world, the experiences that you will pass through during this duration of your life, and all the experiences of pleasure and pain connected with them, they are already inscribed on a plate even when you are inside the womb of the mother. Your future, how tall you will be, how wide, how wealthy, how poor, and how long, with what kind of health and what kind of illness, with what relations and with no relation, when you will pass away, everything is decided. Garbhastasyaiva jivina. Inside the womb itself, all things is written, and you cannot change it out. Because that which is written inside the womb is actually a result of what you have brought with you from the previous birth. You will not get anything which you have not actually deserved. Undeserved facility is impossible to think of. All the facilities that you enjoy in this world, all the suffering also to which you are subjected, are what we have brought with us. We have sown the seeds of joy and sorrow both in one life, and those seeds will crop up into the joys and the sorrows of our daily experience. There is no use complaining, so and so is giving me great joy, so and so is causing me great unhappiness. You have yourself created the joy by some good action that you performed in the previous birth. You have miserably failed and done something which is most untoward that has reacted upon you. Everybody deserves and then receives. We are not given a grace or a gift by anybody. No charity is given by nature to us. There is no such thing as charity, gift, and just giving for nothing. Nothing, no. That cannot take place. There is no charity in nature. It will give you what you deserve. Your cooperation with nature, with God Himself, and your inward communication of your own being with the being of that which is supposed to be blessing you, that will decide the extent of blessing that you will receive from nature and God Himself. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyam said the Bhagavad Gita. As you think of me, so I will think of you. As you describe me, so I shall describe you. Whatever you have given me, I shall give you back. Only thing is, if you give a little small quantum of goodness to nature or God, it will come back to you in large measure because of the pervasiveness of nature and of God. You may give a little thing, but a large thing comes. One handful of chivda, which Sudama brought in a niggardly fashion and was hiding under his armpit tied in a rugged cloth, which he wanted to offer to Sri Krishna in Dwaraka. He did not want to open because of the glory around the large golden plate that was placed before him. And Sri Krishna asked him, my dear friend, what have you brought? He cannot say, I have brought a wretched thing, one handful of that. He is tightening his armpit. He never wanted him to know that. But Sri Krishna said, no, you have brought something. And he pulled it out. He brought one hand. That when it fell on that large golden plate, started mountain-like overflowing. You may give one grain, but you will be given back a mountain of grains in return by God. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed, shaken, overflowing, not in the niggardly way you give. This is the inner secret of spiritual performance, by which we must recognize our true friend and our true source of succor, who will protect us when we are in danger. Can you think of any person in the world who will be ready to protect you when you are in suffering? You have seen with your own, before your eyes people who held high power in society and administration are cudgeled and thrown to the streets as it were. They are unwanted elements like animals. Can you trust human beings? Today he is a Caesar in Rome. Tomorrow he is a target of attack from the very friends that he has around him. Remember the word of Shakespeare. But yesterday, only yesterday, the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. One word from Caesar would face the whole world. But today, no one is so poor as to do him reverence. King has become a beggar in 1 minute. And if we think we are also kings, and we shall be prepared for that beggarly life one day or the other. You deny a little particle of goodness to God, and you become poor. I'll tell you some humorous story why Sudama became so poor. He was a comrade and a schoolmate of Sri Krishna. They were studying under the Guru Sandipani as students. Among many other students, Sri Krishna, the little boy, and Sudama is being another boy, and many others went to the forest for cutting wood. That was the system of ancient Guru Seva. Wherever there is a Gurukula, there the students are supposed to bring holy firewood from the forest for the performance of yajna or havana. The mother of Sandipani Guru gave some fried nut, chana, gram, fried chana. He tied it in a bundle and gave to this boy. It may be raining, you feel shivering, you may be hungry. When you come in the evening, you will find it very bad. So I will give you a bundle of this fried chana. You can eat it on the way. It appears due to fatigue, the boys were lying down like this. And Sri Krishna, the little boy, was lying down. Sudama was lying down. Sudama felt like eating it. He took something and did cut some. And Krishna asked him, boy, you are eating something alone to yourself. No, I am not eating, I am only chattering my tooth to food, he said. This deceptiveness that he showed to a boy like Krishna made him utterly poor. And he became miserable throughout his life. And the very same person whom he did not give a little chana, he had to come for his. These are the stories of Puranas. We are mightily guarded. Is something that we have to remember. We are not without friends and relations, but they are in the original heavens and not in the mortal world. Mortal friendship will perish like anything that is mortal. Mortal association, mortal wealth, all things go by the very meaning of the word mortality. They cannot stand. We want immortal satisfaction, unending security, not only for a few minutes. That unending security will be possible only if our real immortal nature associates itself with immortal source of security. Deathless sources of security alone will give us deathless security. But if you cling to perishable sources of satisfaction and security, they will go, and whatever they have given will go together with what they have given. Trust in God is not simply believing in something. It is an inwardness that we are accepting within ourselves that everything is well with us. If everything goes and all leave, still I am perfectly alright. And those things which are invisible to the eyes will come and protect me. Spiritual life is painful in the beginning stages because of the hard discipline of this kind psychologically required. The discipline is inward, mental, psychological, organic. It is not external discipline that can take us to God. We may eat only once a day, or we may not eat at all for some days. We may not sleep. We may take bath 100 times. We may go on rolling the beads. These are external disciplines that we are imposing upon ourselves. But the internal discipline is that which is known to ourselves only and not to others. Socially oriented disciplines are not sufficient. There must be a spiritually oriented discipline, which is the discipline of consciousness itself. If you are sure that you are perfectly alright, under any circumstances you are alright. Let everything go, I shall be alright. Let nobody talk to me, I shall be alright. For some reason you are alright. But you must be really alright. That confidence should arise in you. And wherever I am, I shall be perfectly alright. Why should you have any suspicions in this matter? Because wherever you are on the surface of the earth only. Wherever you are in the atmosphere of the solar influence, benefit of the stars. Wherever you are inside the universe. Therefore, security and satisfaction should flow to you from all sides. You are spiritually alone, though socially a unit of human society. The soul has no society. It cannot belong to somebody else. One soul does not belong to another soul. There is no belonging because of their indivisibility of character. Our indivisibility of innermost selfhood will guard us from any kind of miscalculated feeling of there being security from unsoulfilled externalized association. To think like this will bring some unhappiness inside because one may feel that spiritual discipline is an abandoning of the joys of life. It looks like that. That is, you are prepared for the bereavement of all the satisfaction that you may have in this world. One day they will leave you. This is a fact. But that very thought is agonizing. But that which is really yours will not leave you. That which is going to leave you is not yours. That which really belongs to you will not leave you. And that which leaves you does not really belong to you. When you leave this world and go to another realm, you will take with you what really belongs to you. What is it that actually belongs to you? What you have thought, what you have felt, and what you have actually been contemplating upon in your mind, that will mightily produce an immortal effect as your true property, finally telling you that you are only your property. Your property, your belonging is yourself only. You have to carry it wherever you go. With that, you must be happy. This is the great aloneness that I was trying to explain to you in many ways, so that this mighty inner spiritual aloneness will take refuge in that absolute aloneness of God Almighty. Hari Om Tat Sat.